What's up, everyone? This is Tim coming at you with another yes, no, maybe, or so. This time about NXT Great American Bash. I did release a video for last week's Raw, and then I went on vacation and kind of didn't realize the timing of that. So I haven't done anything since. So it's been about a week and a half, just over a week since my last video. I apologize. I didn't realize the timing of that. But we're kind of back on the mainstay here. We got the Good American Bash, NXT, a special episode of NXT. It wasn't a pay-per-view or a special 3-hour episode or anything. It was still a typical episode, but still got some title matches and some other stuff going on. So we're just going to get right into it. For those of you who haven't seen the video, this is yes, no, maybe so. I go through every match and segment because this is NXT for yes, no, maybe, or so. We give everyone a yes, no, maybe, or so. That means yes is good, that everything went well. Match is good. Story is good. Just everything went well. No is obviously everything did not go well. Maybe is it was there, but not quite. Maybe during a match or a few botches that lost it a little bit, or maybe the story wasn't quite there, or the story isn't leading. Like there's something there, but they didn't really land it. And then no, it's just so. Like, that happened. Cool. That's kind of the attitude I give so's. So here we go. We're going to jump right into it. We start off with a voiceover by Dusty Rhodes. Saying all this stuff. I don't want to do a Dusty Rhodes impression. I won't do it justice. But he starts off by saying all this stuff where it's a place to be. It's a summer tradition. And then they kind of highlight every match. So that was pretty cool. And then the second thing I noticed was the Planet of the Apes stage. I can't have been the only one who have seen that. They had the Statue of Liberty head and then the torch, but they were like giant and on the stage. And it looked like the ending of Planet of the Apes. Like Triple H had to have known that he was doing that. Like, okay. I mean, it looked fine. Like it matched the theme of America and Great American Bash. But as soon as they showed the stage, I was like, huh. Planet of the Apes, cool. So we start with MSK versus Ciampa and Thatcher for the NXT tag titles. MSK are kind of leaning heels. They are getting booed, and they're also showing it. They're not oblivious to it. They're kind of going with it. They're kind of being having a little bit of attitude, being a little arrogant. So they might have heels. They're split chants. Some people are saying MSK. Some people are saying Ciampa, Thatcher, like MSK. Ciampa, Thatcher, MSK. Ciampa and Thatcher are using stiff, hard hits, a lot of pounding ground. MSK's doing a little flurries. They get stuff here, get stuff there, get stuff a little bit everywhere. But they don't really, they don't get enough going until they're always cut off by Thatcher. Thatcher seems to always be one step ahead. At one point, MSK hits I call it the push moonsault, where Carter does a backflip and Lee pushes him. For a moonsault, and then Thatcher goes running at Lee, accidentally hits Ciampa. Lee then hits around the pole 609. It's a 609, but he went on the apron and went around the pole. That was a kind of a cool move. Then he gets Ciampa back in the ring. Ciampa hits the knee powerbomb. So he lifts him up in a powerbomb and then lands him on the knees, which has to hurt. That knee has to hurt, especially with the guy with a torn ACL. Ooh. The Lee kicks out of it. Carter does a senton onto Ciampa, and then Carter does a corkscrew senton. He does a bunch of spins before the senton. And then Thatcher breaks up that pin, hits Carter out of the way. They hit the assisted fairy tale ending. Carter comes back in, breaks up that pin. They go to an ankle lock. So Lee's in the ankle lock with Thatcher, and then inside cradle for the win. So Carter distracted Ciampa. Ciampa tried to get back in time, but didn't. And then he literally just rolled him up for the inside cradle and for the win. So the match gets a yes. It was so all the matches were a little shorter than they should have been. I'm going to say this now, so it doesn't affect my grading. I'm just saying it does affect my grading, but it is still an NXT show. It's not a pay-per-view, so they did have to fit in the time. They did have to fit around commercials. So the all matches were a little shorter than they should have been. But that's across the board. So the match gets a yes. It was hard hitting, good back and forth, good moves, signature moves here and there, counters here and there. The story gets a maybe because I'm not sure where it's going, but I'm optimistic of where it's going. I feel like a president. So I'm not sure if they're going to break up Tramp and Thatcher, if this was just a one-off, like, short tag team run, and then they're going to go their separate ways, because there were a couple times where they hit each other, so I'm not sure if that's going to come into play, and they're going to fight again, even though they already were rivals. I'm not sure if MSK is going to turn heel, or, like, actually turn heel, not just, it might be an organic turn, but, like, they might end up just being, hey, you guys are heels now. So I'm not sure if that means they're going to hold the titles longer. I'm not sure if they're going to get a rematch at TakeOver. I think they're going to do a TakeOver around SummerSlam, but I'm not sure. So the story gets a maybe with optimism. And the match gets, yeah, so that's how we started off. We then get into the Gargano versus Karrion Kross face-off. Johnny Gargano's hilarious. Side note, this might be a separate video. Johnny Gargano proves that you can stay in NXT as long as you want and you don't need a call-up, because he went from this underdog to the whole Ciampa storyline to, like, the heart of NXT storyline to being a fallen heel to now just being this goofy, like, heel but kind of likable, right? Because he messes with the bad guys, so he's still likable, but he's still a bad guy, and it just kind of proves you don't need to only be in NXT for like 6 months or a year. You can stay in NXT for like 5 years and, you know, still be fine. Anyway, so Gargano's jumping, like, hiding behind Joe, taking insults, and William Eagle goes, okay, to make everything goes according to plan, you guys have been at each other's necks as, like, past couple weeks. We're going to have Samoa Joe as a guest referee, special guest referee. And Kross is like, okay, but there's 3 things I never do. And it's, I think about every day when I wake up. Never lose the NXT Championship, main event WrestleMania, and win the WWE Championship. And I'm like, that kind of contradicts itself, bro. Because in order to win the WWE Championship, you're going to have to lose the NXT Championship. And if you're always going to have the NXT Championship, you're probably not going to main event WrestleMania with the NXT Championship. So, don't know what to tell you. Also, NXT hasn't been on WrestleMania yet, besides Battle Royals. So, except Charlotte versus Rhea, that did happen, but still. So, Gargano says something. Kross said something about Gargano putting on his wife's pants. And Gargano goes, well, speaking of my wife's pants, you couldn't even lace up her boots. And then he hops out of the ring, and then Kross steps in to stop anything more from going on. It gets a no. Gargano was great. It's one of those situations, like, you ever watch a movie where the acting was really good, but the writing and plot were terrible? That's kind of how I felt about this segment. It's just the promos weren't great. It was a cool announcement that Joe will be involved. I'm curious how involved he's going to be. But and just, like, the things they were saying to each other weren't hitting as hard as I think they wanted them to hit. So, yeah. It was like, well, you wear your wife's jeans every day? I'm like, okay, that's not, what? Like, so, I don't know. And then Gargano said couldn't lace up her boots. I'm like, but your wife's awesome. Like, you're kind of blowing her when you say that, you know? Like, I don't know. Maybe you are. I don't, it didn't quite hit for me. I mean, if it did for you, great. If it didn't, I don't feel that it did. Then Kushida did a short little promo against Diamond, basically saying, hey, I'm ready. You want to interfere with me? I'm ready for you guys. It was like 30 seconds. I'm not going to grade it, but looks like that's the storyline Diamond's going to go. Somebody's going to go after the Cruiserweight Champion, and maybe Roderick Strong wins the Cruiserweight Championship in the next couple weeks. Next match is Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight. LA Knight is, I wrote down, LA Knight is like Jeremy Jam and The Rock had a kid. He definitely speaks with The Rock's cadence, has The Rock's attitude, but he kind of looks like a more built Jeremy Jam. So that's what I put. Good luck never not seeing that ever again. Grumps had a hot start as soon as the bell rang. He flirted him, kicks him, hits across body. And then they go into commercial. They did the screen on screen, and Knight kind of takes over. He tries to toss Grimes over the rope. Grimes skins the cat, and as he comes back in, Knight actually catches him and hits a KOD. And Grimes kicks out, but Knight goes, screw this. I'm gonna take my belt. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna take the belt and go home. And then he gets the belt, and then he rolls back into the ring, and he tries to hide. He's doing a terrible job at hiding. He's like holding it but keeping his back turned, but it's obvious that he's holding something. Funniest part of the match, and like one of the funniest parts of the night was LA Knight was just like, hey ref, there's stuff over there. Check it out. Like there's stuff. Like not even like attempting to do a distraction. He's like, hey, there's stuff. So that was pretty funny. But the ref did see he didn't fall for any of it, so he pulls the Knight. Grimes did roll up, and then Knight reversed the roll up into his own roll up, kicks out. Knight tries to get the belt again, but he sees that it fell next to the apron on the floor. Knight goes outside. Grimes tries to go outside. Knight takes him down on the apron, hits a DDT on the belt, and then pushes the belt under the ring. And then he goes in, hits his finisher that I think it's VFT or BFT. Not really sure what it was. I had trouble hearing it, but he hits that for the win. Grimes now Knight's Butler, which I think is going to be hilarious. It doesn't get a yes. Ending was a little muddled. The ref was like supposed to be in the middle of the ring and not see the belt and the DDT on the belt, but it was pretty obvious what did happen. Like you couldn't tell the DDT was on the belt, but then you did see like the ref was like on the ropes, like arms over the ropes, doing a count out when Knight kind of pushed the belt under. And if I was the ref, I'd be like, hey. So yeah. Ending was a little iffy. I think it could have been cleaner, but overall it gets fine. Also, like, knew Knight was going to win. One, they weren't going to take the belt off him that quickly. Two, that's a prime opportunity. Cameron Grimes is Knight's Butler. That's going to be hilarious for the next few weeks. Maybe it's a blow up at SummerSlam, or maybe they hold it longer. Maybe they hold it until, like, Survivor Series TakeOver. So, we'll see. I do mean TakeOver at SummerSlam, not actual SummerSlam. Backstage interview with Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez. Kai just says, hey, Ember's stupid and Shotzi's stupid, and we're going to beat them up because we're mean. Brr. And Raquel Gonzalez, like, says they injured her once, and this time it's going to be for good. So, is Gonzalez going to kill Shotzi Blackheart? Just get to know because it was very I mean, it was short. I could just not give it a grade, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Like, Gonzalez just kind of, there was nothing there. It didn't make me excited for anything. Didn't make me mad at Kai for anything. I'm just like, okay. They showed the Breakout Tournament. Trey Baxter, Carmelo Hayes, Andrew Chase, Josh Briggs, Akeem Anjiro, Joe JC, Odyssey Jones, which was an awesome name, Duke Hudson, and it starts next week. Make my prediction now. It'll be on the video. Duke Hudson is my pick to win it all. He's like 6'8". They said he's 6'8", like 270. He did not look 270. He looked like maybe like 220. He just had the attitude. I do think it's going to be, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Last year or 2 years ago when they did the Breakout Tournament, it's pretty similar. Like 2 years later, they're all doing pretty well for themselves. I mean, Bronson Reed's about to be on the main roster. I think he was in the Breakout Tournament. Dexter Loomis doing this thing with Indy Hartwell, which we will get to in a second. Cameron Gordon is doing his thing with the $1 Million Championship. Bo is doing his thing with that whole thing with Marcene Machinas and crap, I forget her name. But he's doing that whole thing with the Asian. I think they're Chinese. I think they're both Chinese. I know Bo is Chinese. They're doing the whole thing with the Asian, like, Emperor Lord thing. So he's doing fine. So I think a lot of, if they, then the only person who didn't make it was the winner, and that was a whole separate issue. So, yeah, my prediction is Duke Hudson. Anyway, we're going into Zoe Stark and Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Stark is getting hella pushed. I literally wrote hella pushed. Jeez. Doing the matches with Saray, and she had like a women's championship match like 3 weeks into her being here or something. So yeah. So Stark takes control until Hartwell puts on the ribbon and hurts her arm. She like kind of lifted her up and put her on the apron and kind of showed the arm, so they kind of took control. And then there was like a double hot tag where Hartwell tagged in LeRae, but LeRae didn't get to Stark in time, so Stark tagged in Shirai, and they went into each other. That was the whole thing, that LeRae was kind of avoiding Shirai, but not in the ring. There was a super kick into a backbreaker, which is crazy. So Io Shirai like lifted her up like a pedigree, but her legs were on the shoulders. Zoe Stark kicked her, and then Shirai did a backbreaker, and this was to I believe it was Candice LeRae, but that was crazy. So, and then it was a missed moonsault by Shirai. LeRae rolled out of the way. Double submission. LeRae had the Gargano escape, while Hartwell actually hit the silence from Dexter Lumis. We'll get to that. And then Shirai tried to go for another moonsault. LeRae hit a German off the second rope. Hartwell hits a deep six for a 2 count. I kind of just saw it. I was like, oh, that was the deep six. LeRae's getting ready for the step super elbow combo. So she tags in. Hartwell's going into to do her springboard elbow, and LeRae is about to pick up Shirai for the wicked step sister. But then the arena goes dark, and then the battery comes up. This has been in NXT the past couple weeks. It's slowly been charging every week of NXT. It gets to 100. The green lights kind of fill up the arena. Spotlight on the stage, and it's Tegan Nox. She is back. After tearing her ACL 3 times, which is absurd, and hopefully she's okay. Hopefully she actually has a bionic knee this time around, but she is back. She's wearing grunge. She's wearing a black tank top with this oversized flannel and some denim shorts. I don't know if this is a character change or if that's who she is regularly, but she's back. So that's awesome to see her return. This was in the middle of the match. Match wasn't over yet. So LeRae is just like, oh my god, she's back. I don't know what to do. I'm scared of her. And then Stark hits her finisher on Hartwell, which was crazy. Pins her, new women's tag team championships. This one gets a yes, although they are switching these belts around a lot. I think they're like the 4th champions in 3 months since they debuted, so maybe a little hot potato, right? So maybe they got to slow it down. Hopefully hopefully Stark and Shirai go on a bit of a run with these belts. Nox also beats up LeRae. She did something that I really like to see. She hit LeRae out of the ring, and then instead of just like going to the ropes and be like, oh, you got away, she actually stood up and chases her out. Like, yeah, do that, good guys. Like, get out of the ring and keep beating them up. And then, so Shark and Shirai are celebrating in the ring, and then they cut back. They say during commercial this happened. Dexter Lumis carried Hartwell out. So Dexter Lumis literally picked Indy Hartwell out and carried her off in her arms. And it gets it all gets a yes. It all gets a yes. They planned this comeback perfectly. They planned this perfectly with the match, and Tegan Nox coming back to target Candice LeRae, who did injure her. That's how she was written off last year. Dexter Lumis coming back with Hartwell. Maybe there's something going on with the way. Maybe the way, or Hartwell's on her way leaving the way. And Gargano's focusing on the NXT Championship. We'll see what happens. Then there's an interview with Toni Storm. It was really short. She basically just said, I deserve a championship and I'm not facing Shirai. She got big in Japan after I left and she's not worth it. So, I'm focusing on the championship. I like Toni Storm being a heel. She's been heel for a little while now, and I kind of like her as a smug heel. Then we got to Hit Row Celebration. This was not what I expected. It was still good. Hold on. Wait till you hear what I have to say. Okay? It was good. I was expecting a celebration. I was expecting them to be, in the club or have champagne or all this stuff. And I also expected somebody to possibly interrupt and, be a new challenger because Bronson Reed was probably going to the main roster. So... But it ended up being they just ended up rapping. All 3 of them took turns rapping, and then they sang the theme song, which was kind of weird. It was good because this is what they are. They're music and they're hip hop and they're partiers, and they kind of showed off this is who we are, which is great. They all rapped well. It wasn't bad. There was a good line that Top Dollar said. He said, "We emperors with new groove like llamas." I thought that was hilarious. But It does get a yes. I am giving this segment a yes. It was a little long. I felt like it didn't have to be that long, and there was also no interference. So I thought if it was going that long, somebody would have came out, or they could have had someone come out and beat them up, or they could have had someone rap unexpectedly, like on the stage, and you're like, hey, you're not part of it, bro. What are you doing here? Not really sure who that would be yet, because I think they're reestablishing that North American scene. But I really wish somebody would have came out. The segment went like 10, maybe 15 minutes. Could have ended after like 5. But that's the only thing. Otherwise, yeah, they all rapped good. There weren't really too many cheesy lines. I watched it twice and I didn't get every line, but yeah. Then they go backstage to Regal. He says he just said it's been a good night. That there's new champions and Tegan Knox returns, and next week we have the NXT Championship match, and then Mackenzie cuts to Joe, and Joe says, I'll call it down the middle unless I'm provoked. He goes, but let the best man win. And he's definitely going to get provoked. Then we get into our main event, Cole O'Reilly 2. First note, I said both need better music. They're super generic. I know there's stuff going on with WWE in the music. Like, I don't really know what's happening. CFOS or CFO dollar sign or however they say it got fired, I think it was, and they don't have official music to license yet, so it's a lot of generic stuff. I think Cole should have kept Undisputed Era theme song. I really think Cole should. If Roman Reigns can get the Shield theme song for how many years after the Shield broke up, I think they could have got the Undisputed Era theme. O'Reilly takes control after brief stalemate. They're kind of going back and forth, exchanging counters and stuff. O'Reilly takes base. Then they go to the outside. Cole hits a neck breaker on the outside, and Cole takes control. Cole taunts, saying O'Reilly's a disappointment. He's like, not only to yourself, but to your wife. That triggers O'Reilly. He pushes him in the corner, flurry of attacks, tries to go up to the top of the second rope, like the punches in the second rope. Cole goes out, super kicks the back of his knee, and that is the point of the match. Kyle O'Reilly has been really good at having a point in his matches where you're like, this is where it turns. With Balor and with O'Reilly and other places, you're like, oh, this is the moment. He targets the knee. Good counters in the match, back and forth. That was another note that O'Reilly went for his on the ropes move, and then Cole called him. I'm going to try to finish this video because the weather is getting crazy outside. I was supposed to have plans. Well, Cole begins targeting the knee. Figure 4 by Cole. This was a crazy reversal. Cole had the figure 4 on, typical figure 4. And instead of just reversing it and like turning Cole upside down and reversing the pain, which actually happened, me and my friends did this when we were younger. We probably did it wrong because we were like 12. But it does actually work. Figure 4, 1, actually hurts. And 2, if you roll over, then the pain transfers to the other person. I'm talking from experience. But instead of doing that, O'Reilly kind of did a figure 4 heel hook. He did a figure 4, but like with his hands, and had the heel hook in. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. But he got to the ropes and broke it, and then Kyle O'Reilly went for a penalty kick, hit a penalty kick, but its own momentum took him out of the ring. Cole hit a Panama Sunrise on the outside. Kyle kicks out of the last shot. He blocks with the knee, and so he kicks out the last shot. He goes up, blocks with his knee, hurts his knee again. So he's like on one knee. O'Reilly hits the Panama Sunrise into the last shot for the win. This match gets a yes. Always blocking. A lot of counters back and forth. And the match told a good story that, like, hey, yeah, unsanctioned. Cool. I think they could have done it the other way. They could have done this match first and then do unsanctioned. So I'm curious where it's going to go, because I feel like they're going backwards. But I do trust NXT. Maybe it's the first ever Hell in a Cell match. That would be dope. Maybe they do. I saw some rumors online. Not rumors. It's fantasy booking online saying they should be like loser leaves town match. So maybe Colt's getting called up, maybe Ariah's getting called up. I'm not really sure where it's gonna go because they're 1-on-1. They do need one more match. So I'm probably at the SummerSlam Takeover. There's gonna be one more match, but what is it? Is it they already had unsanctioned, so you can't really do no hold bars again. Maybe you do a steel cage. Like I said, maybe Hell in a Cell. Maybe you do a false count anywhere. I'm not really sure. So that's the one thing I'm not too hit on. But this match was great. Definitely. I mean, these two can't have a bad match. So overall, the show gets a yes. NXT always delivers. A few low points, but mostly matches were all good. We had a title change. We had some interesting ways, kind of planting the seeds, as they said. So that would be great. So yeah, that was my review. That match also gets a yes. If I didn't say Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole 2 also got a yes, that also gets a yes. So a lot of yeses, a couple no's, but mainly segments. All the matches got yeses. A couple maybes with the stories, but it is sometimes. So be on the lookout for SmackDown on Saturday. Trying to get a fantasy booking video out on Friday, Fantasy Fridays. I'm going to try my best to do that. Got other stuff going on. But I'm going to try my best to do that. But yes, no, maybe so on Saturday for Friday Night SmackDown. And this will be, weekly thing. Right now it's just WWE. I do have friends who are in AEW trying to bring them into the mold. So trying to get other things going. But right now it's just Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and WWE pay-per-views. And leave a comment below if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you have comments, questions, theories, whatever you want to say. And then whatever you want to say. And follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, at Squadcast, SQWADCAST, YouTube, you're already there. So if you already found me, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Like this video, do all that fun stuff because that does help. So do all that. And let me know if you want to see more fantasy booking videos, if you want to see opinion videos, if you want to see podcasts about this. So do your thing. Let me know what you guys want. But right now it is yes, no, maybe so. I've been Tim. This has been Yes, No, Maybe So for Great American Bash 2021. And I will see you guys next time.